Released court documents fueling new questions in a decades-old case that grabbed attention around the world. After 14 years, we today got our first look at why a grand jury decided to indict John and Patsy Ramsey in connection with the death of their 6-year-old daughter, JonBenet. Trace Gallagher has the story live in our West Coast newsroom. Trace?
And Megan, the indictment didn't directly accuse the Ramseys of killing their daughter. Instead, it accused them of putting her in a dangerous situation and then helping whoever did kill her. The grand jury only agreed on counts 4 and 7, which means they did not agree on the majority of the counts, including murder. Now, a grand jury in Colorado only requires 9 out of 12 jurors to agree to indict. Legal experts say the likely reason the DA at the time, Alex Hunter, chose not to prosecute is that if you cannot convince 9 out of 12, how do you convince 12 out of 12 in a criminal trial? Listen.
Grand juries are always going to do inevitably what the prosecution wants unless there's really just nothing there. And if the prosecution really wanted an indictment and said they wanted an indictment, the idea the grand jury wouldn't indict for murder really means there must have been very, very little evidence.
But the Boulder Police Department, which was accused of bungling this case, feels vindicated by the indictment, and they believe there was ample evidence to go to trial, saying, quoting here, cases are rarely perfect and often contain conflicting evidence. As a result, the opportunity to present the entire case to a jury may be lost forever. The statute of limitations on the grand jury indictment ran out in 2002, Megan. The new DA has not yet commented on his next move. John Ramsey has also not commented on the release. Megan.
Trace, thank you. Joining me now to discuss it, Mark Furman, former homicide detective with the LAPD. Mark, what do you think? What does this mean to you?
Well, when I look at this, Megan, the grand jury seems to agree in these two indictments that John and Patsy Ramsey both knew the person that actually caused the death of JonBenet, and they were the ones that placed JonBenet in that situation to be killed. The death of a child where there's abuse, first degree, and then they aided and covered up and staged a crime scene, wrote a ransom note, and I think those are the tidbits of evidence that they're referring to in this indictment, because those are the issues that actually made John and Patsy appear to be suspects in this case.
But what is it? What does that mean? I mean, what motive would they have to cover up the murder of their child or facilitate it?
Well, you know, certainly we don't know John and Patsy Ramsey, who they really are. We know what their public persona is, but you have to look at the situation. JonBenet Ramsey came into that house at approximately 10:30 on Christmas night, and by 5 o'clock in the morning, the mother discovered the ransom note. So between those hours, there were 4 people in the house: John and Patsy Ramsey, their 9-year-old son, Burke, and JonBenet. JonBenet is deceased. The ransom note was never cleared as far as Patsy writing that.
This is it.
John Ramsey discovers the body, and there we have just exactly who would they be protecting.
So you're suggesting it was the son, Burke, the 9-year-old, but we're told that he was cleared by DNA in the years after, and all of the family members were cleared by DNA in the years after, because DNA was found around the underwear of JonBenet.
Well, you know what's interesting about DNA? DNA can't testify, and it lasts thousands of years, hundreds of years, weeks and days, and you don't know really how the DNA actually gets to the victim or in the crime scene unless it's completely, I guess, handled in 100% properly. We see this in death row cases. So DNA needs supportive evidence. The supportive evidence of the DNA goes in the exact opposite direction. The mother appears that she wrote the ransom note. John Ramsey finds the body. The victim is strangled with a skull fracture. They're inconsistent with each other. The strangulation's inconsistent.
Well, the grand jury certainly had their doubts about the Ramseys, but the lawyer says this is grossly unfair, that they've been cleared, and that this is really just a malignment of their names. Mark Furman, thank you for being here. Tell me what you think. Send me a tweet at Megyn Kelly, #KellyFile. We'll be right back.